Ich erschlag meinen Goldfisch, vergrab ihn im Hof. Ich jag meine Bude hoch, alles was ich hab, lass ich los. Mein altes Leben schmeckt wie ein labbriger Toast. Brat mir ein Prachtsteak, Peter kocht jetzt feinstes Fleisch. Bin das Update, Peter Fox 1.1. Ich will abshaken, feiern, doch mein Teich ist zu klein. Bewechseln neue Reihe, weißer wie bei einem weißen Hai.
Hello and welcome back to part 3 of our word for shark around the world. You were just listening to Peter Fox's Alles Neu, although this German song doesn't actually have a lot to do with sharks. A großer weißer Hai, or great white shark, is referenced in the lines that you were just listening to. Well, as you probably guessed, we will be focusing on the languages spoken in Europe. As you now know how to say shark in German, Hai, it's time to ask, who else says Hai? Well, actually, just about everyone in Northern Europe. So, if you're ever in one of these countries or with people that speak one of these languages and people say hi to you at the beach, it might not mean hello. The word comes from Old Norse. This language was spoken by the people commonly known as the Vikings, even though that is actually a profession, but I'll get to that on another day. Anyways, these guys were extremely successful sailors, which means they spent a lot of time on the water. They raided, explored, and invaded a lot of places in Northern Europe, the British Isles, and North America. But as you know, the dominant language in the British Isles is English. Another language spoken here is Irish Gaelic, whose words at least look similar, although, I don't know, I have the slightest idea how it's pronounced in Irish Gaelic because Irish Gaelic is a non-phonetic language. There is a theory that the word for shark in English comes from the Mayans, who made contact with the British during the colonization of Belize. But this is not 100% confirmed. English most likely got the word for shark from the Dutch word schurk, which means villain, and this was during the 16th century. The Irish probably would have adapted it from England at the time, as the English ruled more than half of Ireland. Before all of this occurred, sharks were referred to as sea dogs. Even though English most likely didn't get the word from the New World, there is confirmation that the word for shark did come from the New World in another set of European languages. Enter the Latin-based languages of the Iberian Peninsula. They actually got the word from the Taino people of the Caribbean, although the original pronunciation is probably very different. Let's talk about how sharks used to be called sea dogs. English is not the only language that used to refer to them this way. Although the word shark in French literally means grimacer, its origins come from a series of minor languages spoken in the north of France and Belgium, Picard and Norman. The word coming from these languages also means sea dog. As a result of this, the word for shark in Polish and Romanian are most likely influenced by French, as at the time, French was the leading language of the world. It was what everybody wanted to speak. There are still a number of places that continue to call sharks sea dogs. They appear to mostly be in the Mediterranean Sea. While exact translations differ, they are still referred to one way or another as sea dogs. In Latin, the word for shark is squalus, and as you may or may not know, Latin was the language of the Romans, who about 2,000 years ago owned a big chunk of land. French and Italian have already been mentioned. These are alternative words for the word shark in these languages, and of course Corsican, which is spoken on the island of Corsica. Another common word for shark in Europe is akula. As you can see, this word is very common in the Balkans and East Europe. I imagine that the word comes from Russia, but I'm sorry that I can't confirm this because I couldn't find the origin of it. In order to do that, I think I would need to look through Russian sources, and unfortunately my Russian really isn't that good. However, please take note that Croatian and Bosnian have made our list again, as both these languages have two words for shark. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in not a lot of time, but there are still a few languages in Europe that I haven't mentioned yet that seem to have their own words for the animal. We'll continue in Greece. This is probably the oldest word for shark on the entire continent. The ancient Greeks encountered sharks. There is even mention of them in Greek mythology. The shark demon known as Achelos was the son of Zeus and Lamia. If you're not familiar with Greek mythology, here's lesson number 1. Zeus, the king of the gods, got around a lot with girls. In a nutshell, he had a lot of kids, which angered his wife Hera because he wasn't faithful to her. So because Hera couldn't punish Zeus, him being the king of the gods and all, she would punish the girls he would seduce instead. Sounds fair, right? Anyways, Zeus liked a girl named Lamia. They got caught. Lamia was cursed by turning into a monster. but not before Zeus impregnated her with a son named Achelous, who was a shark demon. The word for shark in Greek is kakarios. I don't know how observant you've been, but next to every picture of a shark that you've seen in this series, I've labeled the type of shark it is by its scientific name and the name in English. You might notice now that the scientific name for this shark is Cacarrhinus lymbathos. I wonder which word means shark and from what language it comes from. If you guys can name these 3 landlocked countries that probably don't need to worry about sharks, you get a prize. Good job. They are respectively Czechia, Slovakia, and Hungary. Czech and Slovak both belong to the Slovak language tree branch. As we can tell, the word for shark is identical in both of these languages. As for Hungarian, it belongs to the Uralic language family, which interestingly enough makes it a sister language with Estonian and Finnish. Now, any guesses to what this country is called? That's right, Lithuania. I'm not going to try and pronounce this, but it means swallower. I would say that's a pretty appropriate name. By the way, this shark in the background is a basking shark. Despite the large jaws, I wouldn't worry about them too much as they eat mostly krill. Speaking of basking, it's time to visit Basque Country. Basque is a language spoken in northern Spain and southwestern France. It is considered a language isolate because we still have no idea where it comes from. The word for shark in Basque is marazo, which is also where this car gets its name. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.